hi. This is Witch Nikki. Ruby and I are out for our walk. And I don't know if you can see the sky. It's really nice today. It's cloudy. There we go. So I'm going to see, because they said that there was supposed to be some thunderstorms, so maybe they're already over. I don't know why I like thunder, lightning, rain, cloudiness, but I do. Oh, there she goes, up on her wall. Something she keeps sniffing at. That's interesting right there. It's kind of like a hole. Maybe it's where water goes. Today in a Talking Circle online group, we were talking about if anybody had a special animal that they liked or a spirit animal. The subject of came up about emotional support animals. And if anybody had anything to say about that, and I do. Ruby is my emotional support dog. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that today. Because some people think, I'm gonna get this dog registered as my emotional support dog. Now, there's a lot of websites out there now. Oh, I didn't think I saw anything anymore. It kind of went kind of dark. Hang on a second. Okay. Well, anyways, there's a lot of websites out there that'll have you answer a bunch of questions, okay, to see if you fit for one of these kind of emotional support dogs. If you don't already have a dog, do not go out there and just adopt a dog because you think that it's going to give you emotional support on its own right away. And what's she looking at? What's she looking at? What? Big things out there? Come on. Okay. See the sky behind me if anything happens in it. So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't already have one, I'm not saying don't ever get one. I'm just saying don't expect you to go to any kind of shelter, pick up a dog, adopt a dog, and it's going to just suddenly start giving you emotional support. No. It takes time to bond with a dog or any kind of pet, cat, especially cats. Dogs are a little bit more easier to get to bond with you. Sometimes they take quite a while. Come on, honey. It's construction going on behind me there. So, anyways, it does take time. We've had Ruby since 2019, August. It took me quite a while. I had an incident where my cat, my longtime cat, had him for 13 years or so. In December of 2020, I could tell that he was not going to make it through the rest of the day. And some of you would say, why didn't you just take him to the vet and see if he could get saved? No, it was beyond that. It was a matter of time. And I didn't want to put him under more stress than he was already going through. He was dying of natural causes. He had been healthy. He was just going through his last days of his life. And so at this time, I'm holding him, crying my eyes out, and Ruby, who usually brings the ball to me, play, human, play, let's play. And she always seems like she don't understand anything else that I'm going through. But that day, oh, did she understand. It's hard to get up here sometimes. She did not bring the ball, not once. And I went and sat down in a chair underneath a tree. Sorry. Underneath a tree. And held Lucifer until he left. But I was just going through this. I was crying and crying. I knew he was leaving at any time. He was going to be leaving. And she sniffed at me. She sniffed at him. She looked at the tears on my face. And that is what emotional support is all about. A dog or an animal who understands what emotions you're going through. They might understand anger. She keeps doing that to me, going around in circles. We both kind of understand our emotions. She was abused, I think, before we got her. She was abused during the time that we had her by my ex-roommate. I'm not going to even mention his name. She was out in the yard one day and still kind of new to the yard. And he came out through another exit that was not through the house. So she's never seen nobody come out through that way before. She started being protective. She started barking at him, jumping at him, lunging and barking and barking. The other dogs, not so much, because they had known that door's there, and that's the human that owns the place, but she did not know it. She went crazy. Well, he picked up a 2x4 and threw it at her, just as I saw him doing that. And I said, hey! I got mad at him, and I yelled something at him, and he got mad back, and things haven't been right ever since, let me tell you. But now, we're far away from him. We live somewhere else. Ruby lives in the house with us. Because of that, she's developed a fear of men. I'm going to pause now. I'm going to go upstairs. We're going to finish this discussion upstairs. Okay. So anyways, now we're upstairs. in my room here. She's here with me here, resting. Do we got a fire going? It's on the TV. So, anyways, number one, before you go to those websites, ask yourself, do you need emotional support from time to time or all the time? Do you have emotional stress? Do you have emotional problems? Before you go out and get a dog, you should be seeing a human who is qualified, certified to talk to you about what your situation is. Face to face. I don't mean answering a questionnaire online. That person doesn't know you from Tom, Dick, or Carrie, Larry, or Sherry. Okay? So, you should be talking on a regular basis with some sort of therapist or psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever you want to call them. They even call them, I think, behavioral specialists nowadays. Okay? That should be the first thing that you do before going out, scouting around and finding some dog at a shelter, because there's different kind of steps that you're going to have to go through. We did not go through those steps. It's a long story, okay? But to shorten it out, I had 2 dogs that way before they even call them, I believe before they started calling dogs or pets emotional support pets. Okay, Lugs and Lonnie. Okay, and in 2012, they both died. Not at the same day. Lugs died of cancer. And I firmly believe that it was from, partially, this is the thing, I went to live at the house where I told you this roommate lived that threw the 2x4 at Ruby. Sorry. He had the rules, no animals in the house. None. Okay. And beforehand, Lugs and Lonnie were in my trailer with 4 other cats. And we all got along just fine. There would be some times when we all slept in the same room. Okay, I had to sneeze. Then I had to do some talking with Ruby because she thinks that I'm talking to her right now. So she was getting all into my face about what am I doing, what am I saying, all that stuff. So, now if you already have a pet and you're going through some emotional stuff, sometimes people don't even know how to act with their own animals. They don't know what to do. As far as my dog or my cat is giving me emotional support, they don't even know it. I went through that period of time where I was so distraught, I didn't really pay attention to my animals at some times. You know, of course I fed them and took them on walks and outside and cleaned up after them and stuff like that. But, yeah, It's hard to go through when you have pets and then you go through a process of depression, anxiety, PTSD, whatever it is that you're going through. It's hard. And when you got kids too on top of it, it was a really bad time of my life. Um, so um, I was just thinking, I wish they had emotional support kids. Okay, part of me is just kidding, but part of me is not. I would say for most of my life, my kids have been as supportive as they know how to be. Nobody ever tells the people in your family how to put up with someone who's got depression or someone who's suicidal. They don't come out there and tell you, you know, um, stuff like that. Um, if they do, they sure didn't do that when I was going through it. So, anyways, um, yeah, you want to have is it. Let's say if back then when I had Lugs and Lonnie, that my therapist had said, "Hey, you have pets?" Yes. Oh, well, you know what? They could be emotionally supportive to you. Oh, really? I did not have a clue. I was over medicated, bombarded by pills. They didn't even teach me back in those days any kind of tools or anything else, how to ground myself, how to breathe, do other things like crafts, read books, whatever, take walks, ride a bike, stuff like that. They didn't suggest anything. Just here's a bottle of pills. Take one of these. Here's another one, and then another. And by the time 2003 came around, I was on three. Now you might see a video where I've written everything down and I've just kind of scrolled. Okay, I'll put a link to this video that I'm talking about in here. And it's a screenshot of all of my writing that I've done about my healing back in these days that I'm talking about. So, moving on though, you have a pet. Okay, I'm here to tell you that your pet can be very emotionally supportive. Now, they're not going to just come up and say, "What's bothering you today, human?" Oh, okay, well, let's talk about it. No, that's not how it is. But there's something very calming about when you're very sad or upset and a dog tries to get in touch with you. Um, those of you who have dogs or cats will know what I'm talking about. You can be in a bad mood. You could be crying your eyes out. You could be mad and just huff and puff and lay down on your bed or couch or something. And they're going to come and be with you. And pretty soon the cats will be purring. And there's something very calming about that. And a dog with their soulful eyes, and they're just wonderful too. Put their heads on your lap or come sit and put their head on your chest and be there. Just be there. It's very calming, okay? There's no special school or training for dogs to go through emotional support education. They train dogs specially for sight impaired people. Also, and that's from any type of blindness to partially blind, whatever. And also probably I've heard for hearing impaired people, that the dogs can let them know when somebody's come to the house or something. If people feel like that, they would feel more comfortable with the dog around. A few nights ago, we were sitting here, and right behind me here, in this area that I'm pointing to, we're 2 stories up, and Ruby was sitting just like that, and there came a thud at the wall. Of course, I heard it, and she heard it too. She was like turned around and stared at me and the wall, and like she didn't know. She's like, "Did you do that?" I was like, "I don't know. What was that?" And she started looking at the wall. We both did, and I went down and outside and didn't see nothing out there at all. So I don't know what it was. But it was kind of nice to have some kind of recognition and coming from, you know, from Ruby saying, "Hey, I heard that," you know, whether I'm sight impaired or not, and I'm not. I just have emotional problems, issues. Okay. Now, why? Well, I might have mentioned it in that one video that I'm talking to you about that tells things about it. I don't know. I don't remember now because I wrote that a few years back. But let me just say some traumatic things happened to me in my past. And I'm trying to live here in my present without those things coming through and disturbing me all the time. And it's hard. I was doing pretty good at going out to stores. I went out to my therapy and my groups all the time. And then 2020 happened, and guess what? Boom. Now it's 2021, and I'm not doing really too good as far as going out. We've been here in this state, Nevada, since August, and now it's October. And I can count on one hand, basically, all the places that I've gone to by myself since we've been here. I'm not too happy about that. Part of that's been that I've been without my regular therapist that I was seeing on a regular basis once a week. I have not seen her since the last time we talked on video chat in toward the end of July. And I'm sick about it. I'm really just sick about it. But one of the last big things that she did for me was write a note and send it to me here that Ruby was my emotional support dog. And Ruby she's humorous, she's funny, she's amazing. And not only did she go through when my cat was dying and giving me emotional support right then and there, she's just really a delight to be with here in the house. Now, I was talking about before when I had Lugs and Lonnie, and then we moved to the house where I couldn't keep them in the house anymore. And that's where things turned bad. I would go out in the yard every day, but there'd be that period of time where I'd be in the house. Can't stay outside all day. I don't like my dogs being outside. all day. I didn't like it at all. It was like this separation between us. And I feel like if they had been in the inside with me, I would have heard Lugs's lungs not doing too good. He had lung cancer. And it's not funny, but how would a dog get lung cancer? It's pretty sad. Lonnie, after Lugs died, she just got worse and worse, and being out there in that yard alone. There was one day I went out there and she was wandering around the yard, and she started walking into the walls and walking alongside the walls, and she walked right up to the wall and bunk her nose into the wall. And I was like, what is wrong with my poor little baby? So I sat down and pet her, hold her. I held her, and about an hour later, she was gone. I know some people probably said, why didn't you take your dogs to the vet? Lugs was not acting like any dog that you would think that a veterinarian would say, he's got cancer. Never. Never. He ran around that yard. I went out there and threw the balls for him. He played with Ginger when she was little. He was very active out in the yard. He loved it. But I'm pretty sure that if I had been sleeping in bed with him, I would have heard maybe something wrong with his breathing. On his last night, that's when I went out. I was going outside and saying goodnight to them, and I just heard he was not able to breathe good. He was very agitated. I can't really even get into it, but yeah, there was no symptoms or signs of him getting bad like that. I would have known it if he was close to me. And that's what emotional support dog is. Not only just for you, but you for them. You have to be there. And having someone to be emotionally and physically supportive of helps you to be, a healthier person. And, I get out every day and take walks with Ruby. And there's the area where there's grass and trees and plants and stuff, and we walk around there. And then there's like the sidewalk down there, and they cleaned it up. I wrote to the HOA people of this place, and I told them there's some stuff going on down there. It's a mess. So the next day it was cleaned up. So I started now. We take routine walks, about 4 or 5 a day. They're about 10 minutes there and back. A total of 10 minutes. And then, so each day, each time, that we go out there, we do take a walk. Now, emotional support could come physically like that. It's like, hey, human, come on, let's play. Let's do something. And so then we do that. If I didn't have Ruby here, I'd probably just stay in here, watch crappy movie after crappy movie. Right now I'm listening to the fireplace scene with a little cauldron and nice music in the background. I'll show you again. See. So if you think then that you have a dog and you want it to be accepted in the apartment where you live, fine. I understand that. I really do. I've become an advocate for emotional support animals. Not officially or anything, but I just want you to be careful of what you get yourself into. If you're paying money for somebody that you've never seen, saying that, okay, you answer a few questions on there, and I don't know if I want to go through asking the questions or being asked the questions or not, but I've done it partially at one time, and the answers were not that great that would really assess if I need an emotional support animal or not. But they sure wanted a hefty price, like about $100 or something, and then but now for a limited time they were gonna be charging $60, and that's still pretty steep. When all I had to do was speak to my therapist. She's licensed though now in California, so I got to try to figure out what I'm going to do if I ever need that again. I still haven't seen the therapist I'm going to be seeing. I'm waiting to see him by October sometime. A few more days down the road, I guess. But, yeah, I'm going to try to figure out. Because he don't know me. He's not going to just say, oh, yeah, okay. I'll write you a note for you and Ruby. It's just almost the same as going online and answering questions to somebody you haven't even seen ever. Just answering random questions, or not random questions, but these set questions that they have for everybody. Okay. And then paying some money. That's almost the same thing, except in my case, I didn't have to pay money. I have a note. I'll take it around with me if I have to. Every place that I go with Ruby if I have to. But I don't really take her out very much. It's too much of a stress between us. And then if I'm stressed because how she's going to react to somebody, then she's feeding off of my stress too. So you need to learn how to, I'm having stress and she's feeling it. I could tell. You can need to tell how to read your dog's body language. Is their tail up and wagging and happy? Or is it down between their legs and kind of scared and nervous? And they got their ears drawn back and stuff like that. They're listening to stuff and their tail's different. You know, there's so much about reading a dog's emotions just as well as your own. So you're aware of your emotions and you're aware of your dog's. That's a good combination, okay? And nobody online could tell you if you're going to be a good match for emotional support dog or not. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen after answering questions on it. Sure, they do it and they take your money for doing it, but is it real or not? That's up to you to decide. If you got the money, go ahead and spend it. And if it's going to help you to keep your dog where you want to keep it, keep safe in the house. Some people just don't like that, but I don't understand that really. You're going to have a dog. You just don't put it out in the yard. What's that about? You know, sure, I put Ruby out there, but it's when I'm out there with, you know. We just got a teeny little yard and it's all rocky and stuff. But I'm not going to just leave her out there in that yard. Not here in Nevada. being hot or thunderstorms and stuff, you got to read off of your dog's emotions just as much as they read off of yours. And the only way to do that is if you got a dog inside your house. As close as possible. Sure, I let her go where she wants to, and I do open up my door and I let her out and play, and we play together, and she takes her naps and she rests. She rests with me, and she follows me around the house. Anywhere I go, she follows me. But that's all part of it. You know, I'm getting older. I'm 62, and I'm getting older. There might be a time where I might fall or something. She'll be there. She can't call 911, but she could at least give me comfort, or maybe help me somehow. There was a time where I was very sick of when I had lugs, and he was just a pup. He was about 5 months old, and I had gotten up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I was very dizzy after all the medication that had been taken. I used to take them at night because I didn't like the side effects and how they made me feel during the day. So I'd take them at night, and I got up and I fell down. I got dizzy. I fell down and fainted. And he was on me, boom, not attacking me, but no, he came up and he was whining and whimpering and kind of pacing back and forth, and but he wouldn't leave me. He just stayed right there, and then he put his head right here and kind of was whining and whining. And one of my daughters heard him. She got up and she came in there to see what he was carrying on about, and she seen me on the floor and she helped me up. Well, it was just the medication, the side effects of that medication. I won't ever go back on them. And you could look at all of them up. Like I said, it's just me scrolling the page of all the stuff that I have written, that I plan on publishing someday when I've kind of gotten to more of it ended. It's just scrolling up. So if you get to a point where you want to read something, just pause it, read it, scroll up again, and it scrolls by itself is what I'm saying. It's like, instead of a screenshot, it's a video screenshot type thing. I don't know the exact name for it, but it just goes by itself because I'm scrolling it on the screen. You don't see my finger scrolling it, but you see the words going up. So you read a little bit, and pause it. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about my mental health and my dog Ruby, our dog. She's always been a family dog, but she is my emotional support dog. And be careful with those things online to sign up for to get your dog listed as one. May or may not be legal as you think. You have to do some research on it, is what I'm saying. Even mine. I mean, I have one of those little tags that says that she's emotional support, and that it's protected by the government or something like that. But I don't know. I don't think anybody's gonna question it if they come and ask me, well, what's your emotional issues or something like that, you know? They're not my therapist, but if someone's asking it, like, it's just none of their business. You don't have to go into all the details. You shouldn't have to go into all the details, even with these websites. Excuse me. even with the websites that you go to. You shouldn't have to tell anything about what you've gone through. My therapist already knew because I'd been speaking to her for a couple of years, and then here, I said, hey, I need Ruby to be having being listed as an emotional support dog. Now, I still haven't gone into any of them websites to get any of these official, I don't even know what they give you for your $100 or $60 or whatever you pay. They might give you some kind of card or something like that that just says, so-and-so's dog here is an emotional support pet. Okay. But still, has that person really been going through therapy or, of any kind, or are they just going to this website as a shortcut? That's what I'm trying to say. Any person out there could just say, oh yeah, I need my dog to be an emotional support dog so I don't have to pay that pet fee where I go to live. But who's to say? Just be careful what you are paying for and make sure that if it is what you need to have, it's any pet for any reason is a commitment for their life, and as long as you have them in your life, it's a commitment. And so that's basically all I'm going to be saying about it today. But look for the link below if you want to see some of the medications that I had been on. I took myself off 2003, June, actually, and it was Father's Day on June 2003, and I took myself off. I said, no more of this. That's a whole nother story too. So I'll put a link here. You look for it or don't. Thank you for checking out one of my videos. I'm going to get started again real soon with the book that I'm reading of my brother's. I have to go through and find out what part am I on now. I think I'm going to be on part 5. So I'm going to be on part 5 of that story that my brother wrote a book, and I've been reading it, and then I have another little book to read. See you next time.